Do not allow your fire to go out. That line, from Ayn Rand, it really captures that spark, that desire for, well, something more.
Yeah, the idea you can actually build the world you want, it's powerful.
Exactly. And that's kind of the spirit of these deep dives, right? Today, we're really getting into the ideas of someone they called the spellbinder.
Not your typical speaker, though.
Yeah.
He pushed people towards really masterful lives, leaving a legacy.
Right. This blend of like warrior strength, but also real sensitivity, almost poetic.
And think about the setting. Huge crowds, stadiums full. This was clearly tapping into something deep in people, especially with all the uncertainty around.
Totally. A real hunger for purpose, maybe, for feeling like your life matters.
Definitely. So picture this guy, the spellbinder. He walks out maybe 80-something.
Yeah, carrying his years, but still magnetic. Always impeccably dressed, those blue glasses.
He had this presence.
For sure. And his core idea, it just lands with this force that everyone has the potential, no, the obligation really, to aim for legendary.
That we're built for it. For masterwork, for important stuff.
And he connects that to this critique of, well, now, he basically said civilizations become kind of uncivilized.
Too focused on the surface. Distractions.
Yeah, exactly. Obsessed with superficial things, technology overload, and forgetting about, actual personal growth.
So it becomes about personal leadership then. Like you have to model something different.
That's it. Break away from the digital noise. Lead by example. Show mastery. Show decency.
And then he flips the script on winning, doesn't he?
He does. Said it's not about gathering more stuff. Greatness is about giving.
Being a contributor, not just a taker.
Right. Doing work that's heroic, or at least, original and genuinely helpful. Forget just piling things up.
That's a big challenge to how we usually think about success, isn't it? Accumulation versus contribution.
It really is. And for you, listening and wanting to gain knowledge, it makes you think.
Yeah.
How do you use that knowledge? How do you make it helpful?
Yeah, how does it contribute?
Then there's this moment he describes. He's talking about excellence, our drive for it, and suddenly he just stops.
Gets emotional.
Visibly, looks down, a tear runs down his face. The whole stadium goes quiet, you can imagine. It's just raw.
Wow. That vulnerability, especially in that huge setting, it must have made what he said next even more powerful.
Totally, because then he starts talking about limitation.
But not like walls outside us, more like inside.
Exactly. A mentality. He said being average, being mediocre, that's not who we are. It's something we practice, a belief we buy into.
So it's a choice, ultimately, not a fixed state.
Right. And he had strong words for the things that hold us back. Excuses. He called them seductive whispers.
Oh, yeah.
Fears. Just liars. Doubts. They're thieves.
Thieves. Stealing our potential.
Yeah. Stealing the courage to even try. It's a really vivid way to put it, isn't it? We all hear those voices.
We do. And, if you're digging into something complex, maybe a tough source for your own learning.
Yeah.
You feel that resistance sometimes, right?
Definitely.
That little voice saying, this is too hard, or maybe later.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff he's talking about. Getting past that is the first step.
He really seemed to get that collective feeling of dissatisfaction, like life didn't quite pan out as you'd hoped.
That feeling of being stuck, same day on repeat.
Yeah, or jobs that just drain you, constant stress, chasing things that don't really fulfill you, being glued to tech.
And that line, wow, too many among us die at 30 and are buried at 80.
Ooh, yeah, that lands hard, all that unused potential.
But he wasn't just talking to people who felt totally lost, right? He acknowledged that even successful people have dark times.
Right. Doubts, creative blocks, disappointments. It happens to everyone. It's not like you reach a certain point and it's all easy sailing.
No, definitely not. And then he reframes the tough stuff.
Yeah, this is interesting. He says those difficulties, those toxic people even, they weren't just bad luck.
They were preparation.
Exactly. Preparation for who you are now, for unlocking what you're capable of. Essential lessons, basically.
That's a powerful way to look back at struggles. Not as failures, but as training.
Yeah. Think about your own learning, right? Having the hardest subjects, the ones you really wrestled with, often giving you the biggest insights.
That's usually true, yeah. It forces deeper understanding. And he connects this to fear and faith, too.
So if life feels like a total mess, maybe it just means fear's got the upper hand over faith right now.
And that balance isn't fixed. You can adjust it.
You can work on it.
Yeah.
Which brings us to, well, doing something.
Action, because ideas are great.
But you got to implement. There was this moment, someone in the crowd, a guy in a red baseball cap apparently, points out the obvious.
Which is?
This sounds good, but it's hard to actually do.
Fair point. And what did the spellbinder say?
He didn't argue. He was like, yep, absolutely. Ideas mean nothing without action.
Even tiny steps are better than grand plans that just stay plans.
Precisely. That first small action has more value. It reminds me of learning you can read all you want, but actually applying the knowledge, that's when it sticks.
True. And he was clear. Aiming for legendary is hard.
Oh, yeah. If it were easy, everyone would do it right. It wouldn't be special.
He really pushed back against that modern craving for ease, for instant results.
Totally. And he said something pretty provocative, too. That an easy life, a complacent one, that's actually more brutal in the end.
More brutal than struggling for something meaningful.
Yeah, because you miss out on your potential. That comfort zone keeps you ordinary.
And real breakthroughs, real achievement almost always happen outside that zone, don't they?
Always, you have to push. Which ties into another idea he tackled, this myth of effortless mastery.
The idea that if you're really talented, it should just flow, no sweat.
Right, society kind of programs us for that. But he stressed patience. Difficulty doesn't mean you're failing or on the wrong track.
It just means it's, well, difficult.
Exactly. He critiqued what he saw as a soft culture, people giving up too easily.
Lacking commitment when things get tough.
Yeah. He was all about embracing the hard. Greatness is a tough sport, he said. You have to push your limits to grow.
And maybe counterintuitively, the struggle itself brings its own kind of satisfaction.
That's what he suggested. Overcoming those challenges is part of what leads to fulfillment, to inner peace. It's not despite the struggle, but partly because of it.
Okay, so how did he illustrate this? Any examples?
Oh, yeah. Powerful ones. Rosa Parks, that single act on the bus, pure conviction.
Unwavering commitment.
Then Charles Darwin, spending 8 years just studying barnacles.
Wow, the focus. Compare that to today's constant distractions.
Right, and Stephen King, all those rejections for Carrie, he actually threw it away.
No way.
Yeah, his wife fished it out of the trash. And even when it sold, the advance was tiny.
Right.
It shows you need that inner drive because external validation, it might not come for a long time, if ever.
That's a tough reality. Resilience is key.
Absolutely. And Van Gogh, painting hundreds and hundreds of pictures driven by something inside with almost zero recognition while he was alive.
Just pure creative force.
So the takeaway was clear. Becoming legendary. Never easy, but way better than, as he put it, the heartbreak of being stuck in ordinary.
Okay, so embrace the hard work, the perseverance.
Yeah.
What else?
Discomfort, he flipped that too.
Go avoid it.
Lean into it. He said the places where you feel the most discomfort, that's where your biggest opportunities are hiding.
Interesting. So don't run from challenging beliefs or feelings or projects.
No, move towards them. Walk right into the fear, he said. That's how you reclaim your power, that lost potential.
Walk into the fear.
Okay.
And then the story takes that weird turn at the end.
Yeah, it's jarring. He's mid-flow, it seems, and suddenly starts coughing violently.
Like seriously coughing.
Apparently. The stage lights dim, the audience gets quiet, confused. Then this woman rushes towards the stage with a phone and a notebook. And the account just ends with, yet the woman was too late.
Too late for what? Wow. That's abrupt.
Yeah.
Leaves you hanging.
It really does. So, thinking about all this, the spellbinder's ideas, what hits home for you? Especially when you think about your own drive to learn and grow. Is it the call to aim higher?
Or maybe understanding how your own mindset can hold you back, those thieves of doubt.
Or just the straight up message about needing to do the work, that it is hard.
It really brings it back to that Rand quote, doesn't it? Don't let the fire go out. His ending, unfinished like that, almost makes the message feel more urgent somehow.
Yeah, like time might be shorter than we think. What was he about to say? What insight were we about to get?
And how does that abrupt stop make you, listening right now, think about his message? What's that uncomfortable door, that doorway into your bigness that maybe you're hesitating in front of right now?